So what happens is that a lot of souls who already escaped this cycle of reincarnation, because if you don't remember, you automatically reincarnate over and over and over again because you agreed to this journey and you agreed to being okay with forgetting and not being able to get back until you remember. So for those of us who have removed ourselves from this cycle of not remembering, we often volunteer and we risk to forget again in order to help the collective and in order to help other souls to awaken to their truth. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Rooted in the Cosmos for this brand new episode. My name is Isabel Gloria, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. It feels so good to bring this podcast back, and I feel like it's a whole new level to drop in with you and to just share my message, share whatever I feel like is beneficial for you, for your own spiritual journey, and for your self-discovery journey. So I want to hop in today with a topic that keeps coming up with my clients and with my friends, with basically everyone I talk to about spirituality. And this is the spiritual awakening and how we often don't realize what a huge thing that is. So no matter if you have like a lot of spiritual friends or if you have no spiritual friends at all and you feel a little bit lonely with your spiritual journey, I almost can guarantee that nobody really takes your spiritual awakening serious for different reasons. So your spiritual friends probably experienced a similar or the same thing, and they themselves don't realize what a big deal that is. And your non-spiritual friends, they might not really understand you. They may not connect with your experiences. So from both sides, it's probably not a big topic, but I hope to shift your perspective a little bit on that because it really is a huge thing. And I've come to understand that in like the many years of learning this spiritual knowledge and having these cosmic downloads and all that, I've come to realize that there is so much going into a spiritual awakening on a soul level you can't even imagine. I like to teach a concept that I call cosmic amnesia. What that is that once you incarnate on planet Earth, you forget everything that was before your birth. So you don't remember who you truly are. You don't remember that you are a spiritual, conscious being. You don't remember any past lives or parallel lives. You don't remember who your spirit guides are and what alien connections you have. Like all these things are just not real for you in that moment. And for most people, it's not real. It's just something they can think about and wonder about, but nobody really feels connected in a collective sense. So, of course, there are people who had a spiritual awakening who are feeling very connected to all these things. But if you look at the general society, at the general collective, most people are completely unaware of why they're here, how they got here, and how we got here as humanity ourselves. So we basically don't know anything. And this is cosmic amnesia. And this is not, there's this misconception that it is a bad thing that you forget, like a trap or something like that. But I really don't engage in that kind of mindset. There is some truth to that, which is a topic for another episode. But the way I look at it is that you cannot know everything about your soul and about your past experiences on a cosmic level and make genuine experiences that make you grow, if that makes sense. So if you would know every little detail about who you are and who you've been and what your past lives are, what your parallel lives are, what your, how many different versions of you are out there, you wouldn't be able to make the experiences in the same way you make them if you don't know anything. And we come to Earth to grow on a soul level. So Earth is known to be challenging in like the universe and on a cosmic level, it's known to be a very a very challenging planet to incarnate on. And only souls who have a certain level of experience will be able to do that in the first place. So on Earth, it translates a little bit differently. Here, you feel like a lot of people are very unconscious or even tapped into something that we would call rather negative, and that is because they've lost their connection. They never really had this moment of awakening from this cosmic amnesia. They are in a cycle of falling deeper into it. They are less and less and less connected to God until they find their way back. So eventually, and I don't know how many lifetimes this will take for some people, but eventually they also will reconnect. They also will remember. They also will raise their consciousness and their frequency. But right now they are in a like downward spiral. They are not connecting with the divine. They are moving further away from it because they're getting lost in this physical realm, and they incarnate over and over and over again because they cannot remember who they truly are, and they don't have like this connection to the divine anymore. When you think of your journey on a soul level, you don't know for how many lifetimes you have been in this cycle of not remembering, reincarnating, not remembering, reincarnating. You don't know that. So technically, you could have taken thousands of lifetimes of incarnations to get where you are now, to get to this one life where you begin to remember, where you begin to become conscious of yourself in whatever way that is. There is no manual to a spiritual awakening, and we can never reach like one goal. Of course, there is a level of enlightenment and of knowledge and wisdom, but it's not a race. It's not something you can achieve and get a prize for. It's not like that. But just let that sink in. If you had a spiritual awakening, this is a big freaking thing. It's not just a quirky trait or a hobby or something that is a little bit odd about you, that you love spirituality and that you talk about all these concepts and that you love to concern yourself with consciousness and self-improvement. It's not just a hobby. It's not just something quirky about yourself. It's a huge thing. It's a soul revelation, you could say. And I want you to understand that and to start taking yourself more seriously in that. Nobody from outside has to understand or approve of that for it to be true for you. Because the thing is, a spiritual awakening is such a important and deep experience. It shakes you awake so much that a person who has never experienced it cannot understand it. And I don't mean that in a mean way. They have their own experiences, it is valid, but don't let anyone tell you that what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, the knowledge that keeps coming to you is not real. Because they simply cannot know that, because they are not you, and they have not experienced this spiritual awakening and this shakening that has been happening to you and is still happening probably. So what happens when you have a spiritual awakening is that you are deeply shaken, and this can also result in feeling a little bit disconnected from the world around you, from the people around you. And even though that is painful, that often is like a catalyst for your true purpose to come through and for you to step into your mission. Not everyone, but many, 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 many souls who are meant to have a spiritual awakening, who are meant to awaken to the truth, have a calling to fulfill a mission. They have a spiritual mission on earth. They don't just feel like it, they actually have a mission. They are meant to do something impactful, something that will bring humanity further, or at least the people around them. Like they want to create this ripple effect. And if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm just one person. I don't have that much influence. I don't have that much impact on other people. What could I change? We are millions of light workers, of awakened souls who all have like this very powerful mission. And many of them, maybe you are included in that, Many of them feel called to actually start a spiritual business or do something like that with their spirituality, to really make it their way of living and their profession. And that is not just a coincidence. That is something really powerful that's happening because we are moving into the age of Aquarius. That is the age of innovation, consciousness, higher consciousness, and also technology. And that so many awakening souls and light workers and volunteers came to Earth during this time is also not a coincidence, because we now have these opportunities of the internet, of social media, of becoming an online coach that we didn't have before, if you think of it in a linear timeline. So it just makes sense that we are using this. There might be a disconnect when you feel into it between spiritual evolution and technology and social media, because social media is often portrayed, or it is often superficial, but it's just a tool. And this tool is completely neutral. And we have the power now to actually use this tool to impact the world in a positive way. Never before did we have the opportunity to record ourselves, share a powerful message, and send it to thousands of people with the touch of a button. That was just not a thing a few years ago. And we now have the opportunity, and that is exactly why so many light workers, so many conscious souls feel called to become coaches. It's not just a trend, or it's not just a wave of one person copying the other. It's truly a wave that moves through so many light workers who are feeling called to use this opportunity, to use this age of technology and this rise in consciousness to share their message and to create impact in a positive way. So all your mindset shifts, all the shifts you experience emotionally, everything that changes during your spiritual awakening is meant to awaken something within you that also makes you look out for your purpose and for your mission. We talked about cosmic amnesia, and the thing is, we agree to falling under cosmic amnesia before we come here. So we are conscious souls, we are sovereign beings, and we agree to a set of rules. And one of those rules is you will forget everything. You will not know who you are, who you truly are. You will only identify with that one perspective, with that one human perspective that you are expressing in this lifetime, and you will know nothing else. And your soul is like, okay, cool, sounds amazing. Let's do it. And once you arrive here, yeah, you forget things. I literally had a very deep and moving experience of a memory resurfacing in a meditation, in a deep meditation. And I remembered that I reincarnated into a lower realm again, thinking that I would remember. I could literally feel myself being just consciousness. Like I didn't have a real body, I just had a light body. And I could literally remember me in that situation thinking, well, I'm gonna remember this. I'm just gonna incarnate there. I know everything, like I know who I am, I know what's going on in the universe. I know all these things. I will know once I incarnate. And I didn't. So that was a couple of years back, but I still think about it almost every day because it was such an intense experience and such an intense memory that resurfaced. And I can almost guarantee you, for you it was the same. At one point you were this soul who was hungry for experiences, for experiencing the good, the bad, and also for helping humanity on a collective level, because it's not like humans are not powerful. We are friggin' powerful. We are cosmic beings, and there are a lot of wrong concepts out there about humanity not being powerful, which is absolutely not true. We are like very, very, very powerful beings. The thing is, we are currently in this state of collective disconnection. So the majority of people does not remember anything. Like I said in the beginning, they don't even know how we ended up on this planet. They don't know if there are other beings out there, which sounds kind of crazy for someone like you and me, who obviously have connected with other beings and know, or at least know deep within, that there is more out there. But that's the reality for, like, I would say 90% of the people. They don't know. So what happens is that a lot of souls who already escaped this cycle of reincarnation, because if you don't remember, you automatically reincarnate over and over and over again because you agreed to this journey and you agreed to being okay with forgetting and not being able to get back until you remember. So for those of us who have removed ourselves from this cycle of not remembering, we often volunteer and we risk to forget again in order to help the collective and in order to help other souls to awaken to their truth. And that is why it is so important and so natural for a lot of light workers to share their message. Usually not in a way that we preach. At least I hope you don't do that, because that is not a good way to impact the world, because if someone starts to preach, most people don't want to listen and it also won't help them. But we feel called to help through our mission, through what we feel passionate about. So naturally, we feel passionate about teaching people breath work, teaching people yoga, helping people become more mindful. In my case, it's sharing cosmic concepts and all these large spiritual concepts, which I'm talking about right now. And it's also helping other entrepreneurs to start their spiritual business or to bring it to the next level. So every one of us, every one of these light workers who volunteer to come here, we all have this passion for something. And if we don't listen to that, and if we silence this calling within, we are not fulfilling our mission. We are not doing what we came here to do. And the tricky thing is, even though we feel that calling, we don't consciously remember that we are volunteers, that we came here with a literal mission to help impact the world. And that is why a lot of people don't listen to their calling. They're being distracted by the matrix as it is, by the system, by a set of rules, how we should live our lives. And they simply don't want to be the outsider or the odd one out. I hope I can shift your mindset a little bit around that, because just because everybody else is doing it in a certain way, it doesn't mean that this is the way of the divine, or that this is the way that is right. You know, you can also be right and the majority can be wrong. And it's not like they're consciously doing something wrong, but just consider that you may have more connection and more wisdom without any shame around that. An advanced soul, which is everyone who incarnated here with a mission and who had a spiritual awakening, an advanced soul is more advanced on some levels, at least in this one incarnation. They remember more. On the highest level, we are all advanced souls. We are all cosmic beings. But in this reality, the majority of those souls don't remember that they are. And you started to remember, or you fully remember wherever you are in your journey. So don't let the majority of people being different than you impact how you lead your life. Because you're not here to do just what they do. You are here to fulfill your mission, and you are here to do things differently. That's the whole point. And you're not alone, even if it feels like you are, because we are millions and millions of light workers here who are on a mission, and we all have the collective mission of helping humanity awaken, or helping, let's put it this way, helping all advanced souls to remember that they actually are advanced souls, because you cannot come to Earth without being an advanced soul. So that is our task. And everybody has a little bit of a different way to express that or to follow that mission. It doesn't matter if you have a business. It doesn't matter if you feel called to be a mom and only a mom and bring beautiful children into this world who have higher consciousness. That is also a part of it. That's the physical part of it. So some light workers, they feel called to birth literal human children into this world, because that's how the consciousness comes here through other beings. And then there's other people who feel the need to birth a project, a business, a movement, whatever it is, and everything is important, and you have to find out what is yours. What is your calling? And if none of the rules on earth would apply to me, what would I be doing? Would I be leading the life that I'm leading now? Would I do things differently? Would I think differently? Would I be okay with being the odd one out because I like to do something else? Ask yourself these questions and feel into yourself if you're actually following your mission, if you are on the path of stepping into your power, or if you are being distracted and you are moving towards less connection and potentially not taking that inner calling and your spiritual awakening seriously and pushing that away. Potentially that could lead to you forgetting more and more and more. When I talk about a spiritual awakening and about having memories, I'm not only talking about literal memories, like conscious memories. I'm also talking about this feeling that you may not be able to put a finger on, but something within you tells you there is more to this. We are not living in full disclosure. We are not living in a reality that is truth. Do you know what I mean? Like this inner feeling of knowing that something's up. That is what I also refer to when I say spiritual awakening, because it's not just conscious memories. It's also this feeling of knowing that there is more, and also knowing on a personal level that there is more out there for you, that you're meant to do something more impactful, that you have a higher calling. And for that, you don't need to know what your calling is. You just have to trust your intuition and follow its guidance and do the little things that it's telling you to do. It can be something really small, like starting to talk about certain topics with your family and friends, starting to read more books that help you gain knowledge, that help you remember things. It's not always the big breakthrough moment. It can come in very subtle ways. The important thing is that you do not suppress it, because that will lead to you on a soul level forgetting more and more and more of that feeling and not allowing it. So you suppress it into your subconscious, and it actually makes you go back on your soul evolution, and you want to move forward. You want to, first of all, help yourself and create an extraordinary, beautiful, fulfilling life for yourself. But you also came here with this higher calling and this spiritual mission that you're on of impacting the collective. And I think that's so powerful and something we don't even connect with the spiritual awakening. When it's talked about in the spiritual community, it's always about me, me, me. It's all ego. And that is important. I'm not that type of spiritual teacher who hates the ego. I think it's very helpful, and it's actually a crucial part of why you come here to earth, because you want to have the I experience. And I am an individual. But on the other hand, a spiritual awakening is not just about yourself. It's about the collective. It's about your mission. It's about something so much bigger. And I wish I could give you like this feeling that I'm feeling right now, and this knowledge that I have about it, for you to fully realize it. But I'm sure you will realize it hearing these words and getting yourself into this frequency that I'm sending out right now, because it truly is so important. It's so huge. It's larger than you could ever imagine. Another typical thing that you may experience if you are a volunteer here on Earth is that you've always felt like you had a little rebel inside. From your childhood on, you felt like there's a rebel inside of you who wants to break free from something, or who wants to rebel against something, and you don't even know what it is. As a teenager, the usual experience of an advanced soul is that they don't know what they want, but they do not want what everyone else wants, so they rebel against what they don't want. And that can often reflect in an advanced soul becoming like a goth or a punk or some like dressing crazy, or just like even just having a very different mindset than most people. And that is on purpose. Everything that makes you disconnected from other people is meant to shaken you. It's meant to awaken you to your truth and to you stepping into your power and doing things differently on purpose. A conscious soul did not come here to have a buffer life. That's also a thing. You can have a buffer life as an advanced soul, and that is basically, I call those buffer lives because that's how I would describe that. It's basically when you have done a lot of spiritual work, like really exhausting spiritual work on a soul level, and you just want a life where you can chill, where you can just live in the matrix, live in the system, be okay with everything. Do not spend one thought that is about anything deep. And people like this who lead a buffer life, they could be the most advanced souls, but you would never know because they're so in the matrix, you know? They are so small-minded in the most loving way possible. They're usually good people, but they are so okay with the system. And it's not because they're asleep, it's because they're taking a buffer life. They're taking a break from all the spiritual work they've done. So that can be a possibility too. That is why it is so important to not judge a book by its cover. So your aunt, who is very asleep in your eyes and who doesn't get anything and who is very far away from a spiritual awakening, she could be asleep, but she could also be just chilling her soul in this buffer life, and she doesn't want to concern herself with anything that has to do with soul evolution at this point. And she's just here to chill a little bit, and after this lifetime is over, she's just going to go back to whatever she's been doing before, which is intense spiritual work. So we can never judge a book by its cover. But yeah, it's this episode is meant to be a little wake-up call, and also a speech of empowerment to you, to that inner rebel inside, to that advanced soul that you are. And I know that so many souls have a calling and they just never step into their purpose and into their mission because fear and doubt is coming up. And I don't want this to happen to you. I want you to be empowered. I want you to co-create a better reality with me and other millions of souls who consciously volunteer to be here at this time. And I really hope this episode helped you to awaken to that truth and to realize how much impact you can have and how important your spiritual awakening is. And that it doesn't matter if someone laughs at you, if someone is making fun of you, if someone doesn't get you. It's okay. They don't know any better. And I say that in the most loving way possible. I'm not judging them. But you don't have to make yourself smaller because someone else does not understand your reality, because you could be right, right? It's not always the majority that's right. You could be right. And that being said, I want to wrap it up here. If you have any questions or inquiries or suggestions for upcoming podcast episodes or any questions about what we've talked about today, you can always send me an email to podcast@isabelgloria.com. It's linked in the description as well, so you can check that email out there. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on any new episodes. You can also check me out on Instagram and say hi. It's @isabelgloria. I'm talking to you next week. All the best. Don't get distracted in the matrix and step into your fullest mission.